What's going on, YouTube? And welcome to Goal Line Hockey. It's Kevin Forte, and today we continue in the Western Conference looking at our playoff previews. Make sure to check out our other playoff previews here over the next couple of days as we get ready for round one of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's that time of year, ladies and gentlemen, so make sure to check those out, as well as make sure to check out our NHL Bracket Challenge at team_GLH. All right, so with that out of the way, the Seattle Kraken and the Colorado Avalanche, for the first time ever, will be meeting up in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And the reason for that is, in the Seattle Kraken's second NHL season, they will be making the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now, kind of a weird situation for the Kraken. At one point this season, earlier on, they were the Pacific Division leaders, really playing well. They had that really good West Coast road trip. They have a bunch of guys that are scoring. I think they have 11 players on their roster with 40-plus points this season, which is actually pretty good. That's pretty impressive. So the Seattle Kraken are getting a lot of goal scoring, which is really not been the case throughout this team's, throughout the history of this franchise through the first 2 years. This is a really big, monumental year for the Kraken, and they're hoping to do that against what I would argue is probably the best team in the Western Conference in the Colorado Avalanche in round one. So the Seattle Kraken got the edge in this 3-game set throughout the season. They went 2-0-1, so they picked up a point in all 3 of their games against the Avalanche, and the Avalanche, of course, lost 2 of those 3 games. So Seattle kind of has the edge there. In terms of injury-wise, this is kind of an interesting scenario because Seattle really doesn't have any super big injuries, but again, it depends on what you really think of some of these guys. Will they be ready for game one? And at this point, I think they're going to have a couple injuries here. Burakovsky's been out since February. Jonas Donskoy's been out since October. I don't think we're ever going to see him. John Hayden and Martin Jones. So a couple of guys. Martin Jones seems like more of just a day-to-day. John Hayden's been out for a month. And Burakovsky's been out for basically 2.5 months since mid-February. So, when I look at the Kraken, again, it's not the ultimate deal breaker, but those are some injuries to a forward group that's kind of needed help anyway. So, kind of interesting to see what happens there. For Colorado, they've got a ton of injuries, but they're not all to the same degree. Josh Manson's been out since March 1st. With a lower body injury. He's expected to be back for the playoffs. Dennis Malgin, Cale Makar, and Darren Helm, they were all out for a very short period of time, so I expect those to be just maintenance guys in terms of the injury front. Pavel Francouz had a lower body injury. He skated for the first time in a week on Friday, so he's starting to get back to health, but again, that's not even their real goaltender. They're going to go with Georgiev, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Cogliano didn't travel with the team for their season finale against Nashville, but again, we expect to see him back. The only real injury that I think should be of concern is Gabe Landeskog. He's expected to miss the entirety of the regular season and the Stanley Cup playoffs, and that's from Ryan Bolding of NHL.com with a severe knee injury, and we haven't seen him since September. So obviously, that's really tough news for the Colorado Avalanche, losing their captain a year after lifting the Stanley Cup. It's going to be a tough road ahead without their captain, Gabe Landeskog. But this team is not, they're not afraid of controversy and adversity. They've dealt with a lot of it. They were able to win the Stanley Cup last year that way. So I think the Colorado Avalanche will be a-okay. They won the Central Division this year, and I expect them to be ready to go in round one of the playoffs. So that's really the key injury between the two teams is Gabe Landeskog being out for the Avalanche. Now, in terms of forwards, defense, goaltending, I think this is a pretty interesting matchup because I think Colorado just kind of dominates. I think forwards is kind of close. Colorado definitely has the edge, but I think it's fairly close, especially with how many goal scorers the Seattle Kraken had this season. Defense, same thing. I think defensively, Seattle's gotten a lot better. But Colorado, man, that's a good defense. I just don't think they have it. So I'm going to go with the Avalanche there as well. And goaltending, two very, very similar situations. They don't have that stud that can just steal you games, either of these teams. But I'd have to go with Georgiev over Martin Jones, or who's another goalie there in Seattle, right? Like that, it seems to be their guy here for the run. So, again, going with Colorado with what we've seen from Alex Georgiev this season. So, with all that said, I just don't, regular season stats matter until they don't. And I hate to say it, in the playoffs, I think Nathan MacKinnon has, kind of like I said in another video about McDavid, I think he's ready to go. I think MacKinnon is ready for another playoff run. He knows what it takes to get there. They did it last year. They've got a lot of really good depth still on this Avalanche team, and I think they're going to make some noise. They're going to go as far as Alexander Georgiev will let them. And with that said, I think the Colorado Avalanche is going to be one of the quicker series. Maybe disrespecting the Seattle Kraken just a little bit, but I got to be honest, I think the Avalanche are just that dominant. I think it's a testament to how good the Avalanche are, how ready they will be for this series. I'm going to go with the Avalanche winning this series in 5 games. I hate having series under 6 games, but I think this is one that I'm fairly confident that the Avalanche can take care of fairly quickly. So let me know what you guys think down below. Who do you guys think will win this series between the Seattle Kraken and the Colorado Avalanche? A very interesting matchup, one we've never seen before, and I think we're all on board with it. I think this is something to be pretty excited for. So also make sure to check out our NHL's Bracket Challenge at team_goal line hockey. That's team_GLH. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and check out the rest of our playoff preview videos as we get here further into the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Peace.